Before we get into the video, if you're looking for top quality sample packs, preset packs and templates for your music production, they're entirely royalty free. You can use them in your own productions and learn from them. If you're interested, check out the link in the description and enjoy the video. What's good people, it's Lewis of bbrights and I am back with a brand new video. Today the long awaited part 8 of my WW from start to finish episode is now out. I do apologise, I did start my new PS1 Fake Friends recreation and some tips and tricks, and like I said in the video on Monday, I took some time off to work on my own EP and productions, EDM, synthwave, stuff like that. So now I'm back with part 8, I hope you enjoy this one. In this episode we're going to be working on finishing the build up, adding some small risers and small effects and working on the second drop lead, stuff like that. So it's going to be a good episode. Get ready and let's go. So as usual, I'm going to play through what I have so far. It's been about 3 weeks since I last did an episode, so it's nice to refresh everyone's memory as usual. Then we're going to continue with working on the build up. So this is what I have and enjoy. Let's go.
I like to be getting from the bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. Bass up to the top. I like to be getting from the bass to the voice.
And of course, yeah, we're going to add a pre-drop vocal there as well. Second drop. It's going to be a good episode. So yeah, let's get right into it. Straight away, from listening back, I want to add some sort of sub riser in the build-up just to fill up the low and give it a bit more body in the build-up. So what I do here is I use 3x oscillator. It's an FL native plugin. We just call this build-up riser here. Build-up sub riser maybe. If I can spell. There we go. Build-up sub riser. And yeah, we're going to paste it in with the effects because it is classed as an effect to me. So we're just going to move these break sounds down a little bit, get a few more gaps in, draw an 8-bar pattern there, and then if we're going to add 3x oscillator, which is here, change all the things to sine wave, which they are, and then change the course, which is this is the semitones or tones, whatever you want to do it. So if we just turn it down a whole octave, and this is 2 octaves, so that's just a low sine wave. The reason I like FL's native 3x oscillator is because we can bend notes, so we don't have to create an automation clip. It's easy enough. Of course, we are working in the key of G, I believe, so if we just go into the piano roll, this plugin, G4 is what we'll bend to, so we'll start on G3, and this will go for 8 bars. Of course, we'll chop off the last one here because we don't need it. And then what we do is we want to double click the top note here, so the G4, click this icon here, slide, and then accept, and it sounds like this. So I don't know if you can hear that. If you're listening on speakers or headphones or proper good headphones, studio headphones, you might hear that. You'll hear it perfectly. If you're listening on earphones or maybe a phone speaker, you might have trouble hearing that. But it's just a very, very low sub. So we'll add that into the mixer around here. Just give it the same yellow, my OCD. And then just get the volume levels right. We might create an automation clip just because it's we don't want it blaring straight away. So if we just play it from here. Yeah, so it's very, very aggressive, so we're going to, for starters, turn it down. And then just create an automation clip. And it will slowly fade in after 2 bars. And then what we're going to do here is on this section right here, we're going to turn off the volume, like that, and then bring it back. And then we're going to do a nice little dip so it slowly goes down in volume because we're fading into the actual pre-drop vocal here. We might do a low pass filter as well, just to cut out some of the lows, but we'll quickly do that now so we don't forget. Go on the plugin, add an EQ, make an automation clip of this frequency one here, right click, create automation clip, and then of course towards the end it just fades up, take the low frequencies out, and we're good to go. There we go. So that is that. Of course, I wanted to add some sort of synth. So in WW's music, a lot of the times when they fade from their breaks or their build-ups, they do like some sort of counter melody or synth that slowly filters out and stuff like that. So we could try something like that. I also want to add more risers just to add more tension and more power into the build-up, more energy. So again, I'm just going to highlight this section. We're going to go through some risers again, because if you notice here, the main risers that we have are these 4, and they just cover like the last half of the build-up. We want some risers that start here and start and fill up this section of the build-up, the first 4 bars. Of course, we have this impact in these 2 sweeps, but we want a bit more power in the first beginning 4 bars just to build up the energy. So 2 things I'm definitely going to add. One of them is quite signature WW. It's an LFO type riser where they just do an automation clip of an LFO. It slowly speeds up, and then another one is just adding the dominator again. So of course, in the pre-drop fill, halfway through the build-up here, or halfway through the drop, sorry, we have the dominator here. It sounds like this. So I think we're going to duplicate this and just use it as an 8-bar riser and just obviously create an automation clip of the pitch and then add that. So we're going to add an LFO riser and the dominator riser. So that's what we're going to do next. We're just going to make a new pattern. This will be pattern 27. We'll do the W&W LFO first. We'll just call it W&W LFO. I like having my whole project organized, so I don't like having like a random effect at the bottom here. It's just if anyone's wondering why I keep moving stuff around, I like all my stuff to be in one place, stuff like that, so it's organized. Create another pattern and call this one Dominator. We're going to call this Dominator Build Riser instead of just Dominator, because we have a Dominator pattern there. Paste it in there like that. Color, same color. And then the LFO riser is from Silent. I do not want to update it, no. Sorry, Silent, I'll do that after the video. Yeah, so we've loaded the preset, and I have one called W&W LFO, sounds like this. And of course, this here is the LFO one if we change the rate. W&W style. So yeah, so we're going to, of course, we're in the key of G. Very important to always make sure your risers, if it's white noise, it hasn't got any tone, so it doesn't really matter. If you're using tonal risers and like synth pitches up, make sure it's in the same key as your track. It's very, very important. It makes the track sound much more professional. It's weird using an on-off key or a key like an F riser in a song that's in the key of G. Doesn't sound right. Just make sure you keep that in mind. Little tip, W&W LFO. And this is going to be very similar to the sub-riser build-up where it's going to go for 7 bars rather than 8, just because at the end it cuts off. We're going to use G4 and just make sure we turn off the slide here. I'm just going to solo this. We're going to create quite a few automation clips for this LFO riser, just because we want it to filter in and filter out nicely with the track. Of course, add automation for like tweaked parameter. That creates an automation clip of the rate. So the rate will simply just go up, depending on how much you want it to go up. It's all personal preference. There's no right or wrong here. So it sounds very, very odd at the moment, just because we haven't done any automation. So we've done the LFO automation. But what I like to do is EQ and reverb automation. So of course we're going to create a automation clip for the low end here. So again, right click, create automation clip. Very similar to what we did with the sub riser a couple of minutes ago. And we're just going to take the low end out. So this will start from around 2 bars in. And of course, as you can hear again, if I play it again, for the first 2 bars, you hear quite a lot of sub. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to copy this amount, and we're going to paste it in this EQ here so it starts there. Otherwise, the sub from the LFO riser will clash with the sub riser we just made. We don't want that. It will make a weird wobbly effect on the low end. And then let's get volumes right in the track. If we play it with the track first, get the volumes right, and then we can go on to the reverb automation. That sounds good so far. So yeah, next is going to be a reverb automation. So again, I've showed this in plenty of videos before, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Create a simple reverb, and then we're going to make an automation clip for the wet and an automation clip for the dry. One goes up, one goes down. It creates a nice effect. The wet's going to go up to around 70 to 80%, and the dry's going to go down 4 bars in. Now go down to around 40%. Personal preference again, no right or wrong. I've just seen here, my pattern seemed to be messed up a bit. But yeah, now we have the automation clips pretty much, so we can stack these on top of each other, so we can save space. And with the track, it will sound like this. Perfect, and of course, like I said, we know what the Dominator is, so I'm just going to quickly do a quick time lapse on this one because we know what it is, we know what I'm going to do. Just a quick rundown so we know what I'm doing. I'm just going to make an 8-bar riser of the Dominator. So of course the Dominator is from Silent. WW use it a lot. If you listen to their song Rave After Rave, you'll hear it in there. It just sounds like this. But instead of it being like this, it's going to be up until about here, like this long, and then we're just going to do an automation clip of the pitch. So yeah, I'll do a quick time lapse to speed this bit up. Don't want to dwell on it too much, don't want to waste your time. So yeah, I'll do this and I'll speak to you afterwards. So now I've added the Dominator with some reverb automations and some pitch automations. It sounds like this. So for 4 bars it's sustained, and then at the end of the 4 bars it pitches up. And then with the LFO it sounds like this, and the sub riser if we add all 3 of them. And then with the actual track, it sounds like this. I've added the drop kick again. I think now we're going to move on and work on the second drop. So again, in previous episodes, I've mentioned that the idea I have for the second drop is to keep this section of the first drop. But for the first and third bar, so this one here, it will be different, and then of course we'll use the there. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste these audio files here. Just going to move them up for now so I can see what I'm doing, so we don't get off track. And I'm going to chop off the first and third bars. So we're just going to chop it into bars like this, and then we're going to take the first and the third and vice versa. So now we just have this. Yeah, so we just made another pattern here called drop to melody. I think for now, as just to get an actual idea of the melody going, I'm just going to use the original sounds I used for the first drop, which are these leads here. Yeah, so I'm going to just use one of these, make some sort of melody, and then we'll add some more leads and add some new layers to make the second drop sound different. So yeah, let's go with a melody, and then we'll move on from there. So I'm thinking the first and third bar will be something of the lines of like dun dun dun. So after about close to 15 to 20 minutes of trial and error, trying to come up with some sort of drop melody, I didn't want to bore everyone and do some sort of time lapse, but I did come up with this. It's just like a simple thing. We're just going to replicate it in bar 3. It sounds like this. It's very simple. It's, you know, a couple notes. But what I was thinking is, so if we just play it with the actual drop melody like this. So usually bar 3 is sort of the same melody and sort of the same rhythm, but you sort of change up the notes just a little bit just to keep the interest in the drop, otherwise it'll get boring. So what I was thinking is do a little stutter note here, and then maybe bring this lower D here, D5 I believe that is, up to D6. So that's what we're going to do. And then another thing I was thinking of doing is pitching the drop kick. So this will create a new sort of vibe for the drop. If we just copy and paste that there. I do really like this lead from Spire. It's called Lead Lake. It's from the revealed lead. So I think I might use this as one of the leads in the actual new drop lead selection. As you can see here, I've pasted the pattern in the build up so I can get a vibe of what it sounds like. So if we play it from the build up, see what it sounds like. So I think we're going to pitch the drop kick. So if we're going to create a unique, so I'm thinking of it going to, so usually I would go, so yeah, if we just make a unique, so like that, paste that there, and we're going to pitch this up 3. And then make another unique, and we're going to pitch this down 2. And then we're going to do this for the rest of the 3 kicks. So I'm just going to quickly do a quick edit because I don't want to bore you. I'm just making a unique of each kick. So I'm just going to do a quick edit and I'll see you afterwards. So now we've made the pitch changes to the kick. The actual overall kick sounds like this. And then of course with the actual drop melody, it sounds a bit weird because it's being pitched quite a bit. So it does sound a bit stretched, but we'll see what it sounds like overall. We might have to make some adjustments to the actual track to fit this kick. So it sounds fine, it just sounds a bit off just because these chords are not matching the bass line of this kick. So we might have to either pitch this kick in key with this melody, or either just recreate this whole section here and follow the kick with the chords, if that makes sense. So whatever sounds best there. I think the easiest thing to do would be pitch the kicks, just because it's more time consuming, but you never know if changing this could make it sound better. For now I'll pitch the kicks just because it is easier. But if I want to, I feel like it, I might change the actual melody of the chords in the drop just to make it sound better. So now listening to this track for a while now, I do feel like the kick needs a bit more power. It's got the sub element there and the core tonal element. It just needs that gritty, higher end distorted bass. Because if I do play it, it does sound a bit empty. So it does need that some sort of gritty layer to the kick, which I think we'll do next episode. But overall, so far with the pitch kick, it sounds like this. As you can hear, when the kick pitches, it does sound a bit empty. Bearing in mind, obviously, there's no effects here. If I was to add the effects, it would sound a little better. So it does fill up a bit more with the white noise and the crowds. Of course, we need to layer this drop lead up more. We're going to add some more leads next episode. We also need to make some small adjustments to save CPUs, as I can hear it lagging. It's just I'm not deciding. I'm undecided if I want to change this to fit the kick. I'm not keen on this kick pitching. I'd rather it go like that rather than. But that's I'm about to decide that and make any changes off camera just so I can save time. But yeah, that's what we have so far. So I think what I'm going to do is end this episode here, as it's episode 8. Next episode, I'll work on the drop melody, the second drop melody, adding some more synths, stuff like that, and working on the kick drum. And then part 10 will be the final episode of me finalising the whole track, adding the small little bits of ear candy, mixing and doing the volumes and all that, and actually polishing the track, and then I'll be giving the FLP out. So yeah, so I think I'm going to end this episode here. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button because it helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. Got a next episode coming next week, and I also have another episode of my PS1 remake. And yeah, pretty much that. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, produce music, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.